This is TWiT.
While Facebook lawyers endure Senate hearings for allowing Russian troll ads, one reporter has been delving deep into a more insidious problem on Facebook: our shadow profiles. Kashmir Hill of Gizmodo has been researching some crazy stories about Facebook's People You Might Know feature. Welcome to the show, Kashmir. So, shadow profiles isn't an official Facebook term, obviously, because it sounds pretty scary, and it is. Describe what you mean by...
They prefer it be called shadow contact information, if anything.
Oh, okay. That still sounds kind of scary. What does shadow contact information or shadow profiles mean?
So shadow contact information is, if you're on Facebook, you probably have this. If anybody you know or have ever given contact information to, if they upload their contact book, their contacts or their address book to Facebook, Facebook will try to match that contact information to people that are on the platform. And so maybe I've given, Facebook my personal Gmail address, but I'd never given them my work address. But it'll see from someone else's contact book my work address, and it'll just kind of layer that on to my account. And then they'll use that for anybody I've ever, emailed from my work address. They'll then start connecting me to those people. So it's part of the reason why you get those really accurate people you may know recommendations, because they have this kind of like vast hidden black book of almost everybody you've ever been in contact with.
Yeah, I mean, you've been covering this. It seems like you've been looking into this for so long, like people who are in
that way.
in therapist's office, and then suddenly like someone else that's in the therapist's office will get recommended to them, or their therapist will get recommended to them, all these kinds of things. So my husband doesn't have a Facebook profile. He never has got an account. He never will, according to him. Does that mean, do they still know things about him? Because I have him in my, because countless people have them in their phone book or in their contacts and have uploaded those?
So the reason Facebook doesn't like the term shadow profile is I think that's what it implies, that somebody who has never joined Facebook still has this kind of profile there. And they say they don't do that. That any contact information that's been uploaded for your husband is just associated with the person who uploaded it, but it could be used to connect people. So if someone else has your husband's contact information, it could wind up being used to link the two of you. So yeah, Facebook does say they don't maintain shadow profiles for non-users, but it's certainly the case that non-users have information as part of the network.
Yeah, I feel like it's convenient semantics, really. Sure, there is no profile for these people that aren't on Facebook that you can go to and view and see what they're, what they like to do for fun. But still, that information is there and just as linkable once that person, if and when that person decides to sign up. Everything kind of gloms on, and they get the recommendations that are applicable and everything. All that data is there waiting to be put to work. It just seems to me like, could you see possibly legislation at some point forcing Facebook to not track this stuff, or is that just simply not possible due to the fact that everybody has their own contact network that they upload, and it's just so far out of anyone's hands that how could you even lock that down?
There has been a very strong Twitter discussion in reaction to my story about whether, this is allowable under the new privacy regulations in Europe, because it is like processing information about people that they didn't provide to the network. Right. This has been looked at. Like, there have been complaints about shadow contact information. It's been looked at by Canada's privacy regulator and the Irish Data Protection Agency, and they just haven't done anything about it yet. So I don't know if it'll ever be regulated. The thing that really bothers me about it is that you can't see what's in your shadow contact information. So I suspect one of the stories I've covered is a sex worker who has never given Facebook any information related to her sex work. She uses a different name, a different email address, a different phone number. But Facebook's People You May Know started recommending her regular clients. So it was making this connection between her and her clients, even though Facebook shouldn't have access to any of the information that would allow it to do that. And she can't see your shadow contact information to see if that's what's to blame. So, my hope would be that one day we might have more transparency and the ability to limit what the social network that we joined for fun is, processing about us.
So another thing I learned from your article was that Facebook works as a reverse phone number lookup. So I put my phone number in, there popped up my profile. I put my husband's phone number in just to test this, and nothing came up. I put my dad's phone number in, and he has a Facebook profile, and his profile didn't come up. So I'm assuming it's probably because of one of the many apps, probably like maybe WhatsApp or anything that is associated with my phone number. And you talked to Bruce Schneier, thank you, about this, about how our phone numbers are really more private. Talk a little bit about that than our social security numbers.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't have given up one of my journalistic tricks of the trade. I have definitely used the reverse phone lookup before for stories. And there is a privacy setting you can change if you don't like that, where you can say only friends are able to look for me based on an email address or phone number. But yeah, Bruce Schneier's point was that, these days, much like the social security number was not originally created in order to be this like very secure identification, our phone numbers are not something that we have traditionally thought would be a really important part of our security profile. And so we give it out all the time. We have it in our email signatures. And yet we use our phone numbers with so many different services. We use it for, two-factor authentication in many instances. And increasingly, there's a profile that's being, developed around our phone numbers, and they're very much tied to our identities. We don't like to change them. We usually port our phone number from service to service and, keep it for our whole lives. And so it is one of the backbones of Facebook's People You May Know and how it's connecting people is by looking at all these phone numbers. And I just don't think that most people, when they were kind of like setting up their personal security profile, we're thinking, oh, I need to be careful about who I give my phone number to, or this could later be used to like make a connection between us.
Yeah, it also makes me realize when I mean, Facebook's been around for a long time at this point, right? And I remember very early on signing up for Facebook, signing up for Twitter. I think I did the same thing then, having a different approach to this idea of share your contacts with us and we'll make all the connections for you. Then that seemed like a really great deal. Great, you've saved me all this time and trouble of setting all this up manually. Now I think about it a little bit differently. I think I actually didn't consider then what I consider now, which is, am I really giving you everything that there is that I have in my phone to do with whatever you will, and to never know that you do or do not keep it forever and ever and use it for whatever you decide to use it for in the long tail? I don't know. I guess times have changed, and that seems a little bit more apparent to me now. I wish it did to me then. But it wouldn't have mattered, right? Because everybody has everybody's number, and you're all screwed anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point, because I just don't think that Facebook was as candid as they could have been about the fact that once you uploaded your contact information, it was going to be kept forever and used to make friend recommendations for all time. And people did complain about that a year. People You May Know came into existence in 2008. And in 2009, when people started getting these really, creepily accurate suggestions, they said, oh, I think that they're using the contact information I gave them when we first signed up. And at the time that Facebook was confronted with that, they were really cagey about it and said, oh, the People You May Know is, our special sauce, and we don't really talk about it. And now they're upfront about the fact that they use those contacts. But I don't think most people understand just how much analysis you can do with all this information. And through the course of reporting the story, I discovered that a quarter of all my Facebook friends have handed over their contacts. And that surprised me. And if this worries you, I would recommend that you go and check out the page on Facebook for managing your contacts, and you can delete them if you don't like the fact that you've done this. But that doesn't help you with your own shadow contact information, because you would need to find everyone who's ever handed your information over and ask them to delete it.
Right, and that's impossible. I mean, you make the point that, like, this is someone that maybe you sold something to on Craigslist a decade ago, or someone, that your landlord, or, just the most random people that end up in your contact information. That, I mean, I think someone should, I don't know, write a book about going around. You, Kashmir, should go around and see how hard it would be to go back and get everyone's information off of there.
Sounds like a good story assignment.
Well, I mean, I feel paranoid now. I know you met like a former, like a distant family member that some of your family members didn't know about. We'll link to that article. It's amazing. But I just scroll through my people you might know, and it's mostly people that live in our small town of Petaluma. Like, we're all moms, we're connected. But then the people that I don't know, I just think, is that like some secret?
Why are you connected to me? Why are you being presented to me? Is there something I need to know?
Yeah, ever since one of those strangers wound up being a relative I didn't know existed, every time I go through that list, I'm like, you're probably connected to me in some way that only Facebook knows. And what is it? It's like every person is a mystery to me now.
And you'll never know because as you point out in the article, Facebook considers sharing this information a privacy violation. Whose privacy? Because I mean, when I'm not on Facebook and I choose not to share, well, I mean, I am on Facebook, but if I were never to have gone to Facebook at all, yet my information was there, like my privacy is not necessarily being adhered to, but they're talking about Facebook users' privacy offering that information, right?
Yeah, so it's the privacy of the people who uploaded their contacts. And when you upload your contacts, it's not just like the name and the number, it's everything that you have for that contact. So if you made any, notes in there, if there's a photo of somebody, any old addresses you have, like everything goes over when you upload your contacts. And so if Facebook let you see your shadow contact information, it would be letting you see into the address books of the people who gave your contact information. So it might say like, oh man, Jason's a real jerk and here's his number.
Probably does say that.
So I think that's how that's the privacy of those people who provided it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's been a lot of talk lately also about like, Facebook is listening to me because I'm getting delivered these ads that are, or that have my picture. They're watching me. They're secretly watching me. And I know Reply All, those guys did a big episode on that, and you've been on that show before. But I think, really, it's more insidious what they're doing than just turning on our microphone and using it to track ads. Like, I don't think they're listening to us, but we're giving them this information willingly.
Yeah, I know. I get this tip once a week that it feels like Facebook is listening to conversations because the ads are so accurate. But I think the real takeaway from that is that, one, you're not that unique, and you're probably part of this lookalike audience where everybody is having kind of the same conversations and talking about the same products. And then two, like, they don't need to listen because your phone just knows you so well. Mm-hmm. And there's all this other data that's flowing into Facebook. That means that their ads are really good. Like my Instagram ads are always so good. I actually want to buy the things I see there. And Facebook knows me too well.
Well, Kashmir, thank you so much for joining us. And you are at Gizmodo now. Where's the best place to follow you online besides waiting for that book that you're going to write?
I think my Twitter is probably the best. I'm Cash Hill on Twitter.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.